Welcome to the Growth Mode podcast, where real conversations fuel real business growth. Hosted by Nina Labbe, media strategist with Salem Surround. Get ready to listen, learn, and grow. This is Growth Mode.
Good health is something many of us take for granted until it's challenged. For today's guest, a deeply personal journey transformed heartbreak into hope and inspired a mission to help others live healthier lives. Joining me today is David Roberts, founder of Mara Labs. After losing his wife, Mara, to breast cancer, David dedicated himself to researching the science of cellular health and creating products designed to help people proactively support their health and well-being. Today, we'll hear the incredible story behind Mara Labs. We'll talk about the importance of prevention, discuss why cellular health matters, explore one of their flagship products, BrocElite, and learn how purpose can grow into something that impacts thousands of lives. David, thank you so much for joining me today on Growth Mode. It's truly an honor to have you here.
Nina, it's so good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So, David, I'd love to begin with the story behind Mara Labs. It's a deeply personal one. Would you share how Mara's journey inspired the mission that you're on today?
Yeah, I mean, so, she was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2012, and she had a nursing background, and so knew what chemotherapy could do to her and didn't want that. So she asked me with my science background to find natural compounds that could provide even better results than the chemotherapeutics that were being offered. And so pretty early on, I saw this molecule from broccoli that was discovered at Johns Hopkins in 1992 and had a ton of research behind it. They actually had the chemoprotective center there, which grew broccoli sprouts. And so we ended up growing her breast cancer cells in our lab and putting a bunch of, I think, 60 different supplements on them to see what killed her type of cancer. And sulforaphane, which is that good molecule from broccoli, was number 3 in directly killing her type of cancer. And so when I went out to buy it, I discovered that it's not stable. So there were no supplements that had it. What were the broccoli supplements on the market were the molecule that comes before sulforaphane, which is stable, called glucoraphanin. And so when you have a head of broccoli, you start chewing it, the cell wall breaks down, and there's an enzyme in there that gets let out and converts the glucoraphanin into sulforaphane. If you swallow it, you get the benefit, but if you try to harness it, it degrades. And so we ended up growing lots of broccoli sprouts in our kitchen, enough for probably 10 families. And that was a big chore because I would make juice for Mara every morning. And so that was how she was getting this good molecule. But the issue is, like in the summer, it can mold and you can lose a crop. And then if you're traveling, it's really hard to travel with. And we had our boys were 1 and 3 at the time. And so there's that, having to care for these sprouts. So anyway, I was at lunch with my friend, Dr. John Gilday, and whose wife also had breast cancer 10 years earlier. And he's a cancer researcher. And knows a lot about natural compounds in cancer. And I was just like, I really wish there was a stable form of this so I could just have a supplement that I could give her instead of growing all these broccoli sprouts. Well, 2 years later, or 3 years later, we're at lunch, John, Mara, and I, and he's like, I stabilized sulforaphane. And we're like, what? And so we were like, well, let's test it. And so we sent it out to be tested. And sure enough, he had. And so we were with a different supplement company at the time. And so we're like, let's just table this, but Mara was like, we can't table this. We have to get this to people, because she had read the research too and knew what a game changer it would be to have a supplement that had stabilized sulforaphane in it. And so she proceeded to raise the seed money. But unfortunately, at the same time, she took a turn for the worse and ended up dying in September of 2017. And so at that point, we were like, I left my other supplement company and decided to start Mara Labs.
Wow, that was incredible findings, incredible research on your end. And losing someone you love, changes you, forever. How did you find the strength to turn such a heartbreaking experience into a company dedicated to helping others live healthier lives?
Yeah, I mean, I think, pretty early on, we realized some friends and I who started the company, we realized the mission of the company was basically to cultivate lifestyles of wellness for generations to thrive. And so the idea there, it's a multi-generational view of health. And so we want, my boys and I, they're now 16 and 18. They're doing great. We're doing great as a family, but how much better would we be if Mara was still here? And so having tools in the form of supplements like sulforaphane and BrocElite, having tools to give people and offer people that are potently anti-inflammatory, inflammation being the root of many major diseases, and so that the parents can be around to see their kids graduate high school, get married, and grandparents can be around and healthy enough to be on the floor to play with their grandbabies, as opposed to the stereotypical rigid grandparent who can't get out of the chair.
Right, absolutely. And David, one of the things that I've learned, through growth mode is that some of the most impactful businesses aren't born out of opportunity. They're born out of purpose. And your story is a powerful example of that. During that journey, you discovered, like you were talking about sulforaphane, for someone, hearing that word, for the very first time, what is it like, in simple terms, and why did it become, such an important part of your research? If you could elaborate a little bit more on that.
Sure. I would love to. That's a great question. So sulforaphane turns on this messaging molecule in our cells called NRF2. And if you think about the best way I like to describe it is if you think about the bridge on a ship. Well, it's the command center, right? And messages come in and out of the ship, and so that there can be decisions made. And so the nucleus of the cell is like that bridge on the ship. It's the command center of the cell. And so the message or messenger goes into the, once sulforaphane is introduced into the cell, it releases the NRF2 from a binding site and turns it on to then travel into the nucleus and say, hey, something's going on. We need to clean up. And so it turns on some switches. One switch is something called the antioxidant response system. And if you think of vitamin C as an antioxidant, it combines with one molecule of pro-oxidant and neutralizes it. Well, sulforaphane is not itself an antioxidant, but it turns on a switch that produces 200 different antioxidants and tens of thousands per second. And so it's this flush of antioxidants that go into the cell and clean it up. The other thing it's do is turn on detoxification enzymes. And so if you think of how many toxins we're exposed to every day in the food that we eat, in the air that we breathe, from our skin, things that we touch. And so having these toxins be cleaned up is a huge thing. And so so if you think about it, it's basically turning on this message to send to the cell, the nucleus, the bridge of the ship, to clean up the ship, to protect the cell. And so that's really the secret behind sulforaphane and why it does the magic.
It's so fascinating. So fascinating. You know, when people first discover Mara Labs, what are they usually hoping to improve in their health?
It just varies. I mean, the other side of it is there are a lot of people who just want to age well, and there are a lot of other, I think, 6 different anti-aging mechanisms that sulforaphane helps with, including mitophagy, which is the turning over of poorly functioning mitochondria. Mitochondria being the powerhouse of the cell. It's how we get our energy, and then autophagy as well, which are the turning over of bad cells that need to be shown the door as well. And so those 2 things alone are huge for our well-being. But it could be anti-aging. We did early on when we started, when we first had the sulforaphane, everybody in the company was taking it, and we're like, did your joint pain go away overnight? Did yours? Yeah, mine did too. So we were like, how quickly does this stuff work? And so we did an internal sort of preclinical trial looking at how quickly does sulforaphane impact inflammation. And so we found that taking 10 milligrams, so 2 capsules, was able to decrease pro-inflammatory markers, like IL-6, 28% in 24 hours. So that's enough so that you can feel the difference quickly. And so that 10 milligrams of sulforaphane, to just put it in perspective, that's the amount you'd have to eat 5 pounds of mature broccoli to get that amount.
Oh my gosh. Well, you know what? I will say that BrocElite is amazing. I've been taking it myself, and I have felt more energy, and I feel better overall. Yeah. And that BrocElite, it's one of the most, talked about products, for someone who's never heard of it before, It seems like it's become the cornerstone of Mara Labs. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, it was our first product. It's definitely our best known product, mainly because I've talked about inflammation and detox, but it has 35 additional pro health benefits, including brain health, and so a lot of people take it for brain health. Because it stimulates something called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is really at the center of brain health. So it basically preserves existing neurons, but also helps create and grow new neurons. And so that's a huge benefit as well. And then most recently, we discovered that it actually can mobilize microplastics out of your cells for excretion. And so that's a huge benefit as well.
That is huge. So huge.
Because the microplastics are porous and have tens of thousands of chemicals, including BPA and phthalates, which are endocrine disruptors. And so that especially, men and women that can impact their testosterone, their sperm, and it's an estrogen mimic. They're estrogen mimics, and so it can mess up the signaling that the estrogen does in a woman's body.
Wow, that's so interesting, and I don't think enough people know what microplastics, how it can affect the body.
Yeah, I mean it's a good place to start. If you have Netflix, they came out with a documentary in March on, it's called Microplastics, and they give a decent overview. It's not very sciencey, so it's very approachable. But they looked at I think it was 8 couples who had trouble getting pregnant, and so this main character was this lady who would go around and clean up their houses, get rid of plastics, help them buy clean foods, get rid of toxic chemicals like toxic cleaning chemicals in their houses, and replace them with more healthy ones. And then they just walked through a number of months, and I think 3 of them, the couples ended up getting pregnant. So that was sort of the.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it wasn't super sciencey, but it was still pretty interesting.
Yeah, I love that. And, beyond BrocElite, Mara Labs has developed, quite a few innovative products. And one that's generating a lot of interest is GL Perfect. Can you tell us what it is and who it's designed to help and why you're so excited about it?
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah. Well, one of my business partners, Dr. Martin Katz, is a physician, and you've probably heard how many people are on GLP-1s for weight loss. And so he would have people coming into his office. Can I have a GLP-1? He's like, no. And so he was like, let's please formulate a GLP-1 alternative. Or really, so many people come off GLP-1s because they maybe have lost their insurance or they get sick from it or something. And so it's also an option for folks coming off. But basically, it's GL Perfect. We wanted something that would suppress appetite. And so the good molecule from green tea extract called EGCG, it's not really, typically it's not absorbed through the gut barrier much in a way that it would actually impact your hunger. But we have a carrier molecule that is patent pending that we bind it to, and it sort of smuggles the EGCG through your gut barrier so that it can get to your cells. And it really does, what it does is it downregulates the hunger hormone called ghrelin. And it does it really well because it is 250 times more absorbed than regular green tea. And we tested that in our lab. And so that's a big cornerstone of it. So you basically don't have what I call the hunger noise. Where you're like, I'll just snack. Or if something's offered to you, you just think you're just like, might as well. Where with this appetite suppressant, there's a lot less of that. And so the other molecule is called berberine. And again, it's attached to our carrier molecule. And what that does is it ramps up AMP kinase, AMPK, which is known as the master metabolic switch. And in the cells, again, it's one of those messages that goes into the nucleus, just like NRF2 and that ship analogy. And so what that does is it impacts blood glucose. So you don't have big blood glucose spikes, and it can impact your people who are insulin sensitive. It helps with gut health as well. And so, and cholesterol. And so what that what that does is when you have a big sugar spike, it can increase your dopamine, which is your pleasure hormone, and then you just want more. And it's kind of like an addiction. And so without that big sugar spike, you have less of these cravings, basically. The last is alpha-lipoic acid, which is bioavailable itself, and I call it the best supplement nobody talks about, and that helps in a different way in reducing blood glucose spikes as well. And so those three, one of the issues with the GLP-1 is muscle mass loss. About 40%, up to 40% of the weight that's lost is muscle mass. And so that's an issue because the muscle is where the glucose goes. It's your glucose sink. It's like your, I call it, it's like the more muscle you have, it's like the more of your life insurance policy you have. And so basically, if you lose your muscle, you're going the opposite direction of health. You want more muscle as you age. And And that's really hard to do. It's hard to gain muscle mass as you age. And so a lot of these people who have been on the GLP-1s and lost muscle mass, they're not getting that back. And so if you're on GL Perfect, all three of those supplements, EGCG, berberine, and alpha-lipoic acid, are protective against muscle loss because they impact the enzyme that actually causes muscle loss, called myostatin. And so that's a big differentiator. So yeah, we've had some great testimonials. We sell a lot of it. People like it. And so we're pretty pleased with it.
I love that. Such incredible information. So much wisdom there. You know, David, what excites you most about the future of preventative health and wellness?
Wow, that's a big question. Yeah, I've been, excuse me. I'd say even since we started Mara Labs, I've seen a shift in practitioners where they're more open to supplements. I think especially physicians, historically they're taught in med school that supplements they just give you expensive urine and they don't really work. And there are a lot of trashy supplements out there that fit that bill. But having more and more good supplements that actually, have science backing them, I think there's been a shift of like, oh yeah, there's some good ones, there's some bad ones, and so there's a bit more openness to nutritional supplements and in caring for patients. But I think, I'm excited also about how AI will impact combinations of supplements. So for us, we do a lot of looking into synergies. So broccoli, the sulforaphane, the broccoli doesn't just have sulforaphane. The plus in broccoli is we add the cousin molecule from watercress called PEITC, phenethyl isothiocyanate, and so that forms a synergy with the. Hold on one second. Hey, Hunter, I'm on a podcast. You can come in. Excuse me. So, yeah, the PEITC actually forms a synergy. So an additive benefit is 1 + 1 = 2. A synergistic benefit is 1 + 1 = 5. And so that just adding that molecule in basically turns on that NRF2 messaging to the nucleus 5 times better. And so you're getting more of the benefit than you would just having the sulforaphane in there. So that's a big deal. Similarly, we look at sulforaphane and curcumin. So we have a curcumin product that's fantastic called BrocElite. And curcumin typically less than 1% gets through your gut barrier. But again, we attach it to our patent pending carrier molecule, and actually a lot more gets through, probably hundreds of times more gets through than regular curcumin. And so that provides a synergy as well, 1 + 1 = 5. And so I think looking at AI and doing some sort of thought experiments there to see, hey, what other synergies could there be?
Right. So powerful. David, I think this is my favorite question of our conversation today. When people hear the name Mara Labs, what do you hope they remember most about Mara's legacy? First of all, she was a great mom. Fantastic mother, loved the boys. It was very nurturing. But I think that decision in April of 2017 to raise the seed money for the project to get BrocElite to market, that it wouldn't be here if she hadn't done that. And so I think that was that decision. I think she was very tenacious. She would set her mind to something and do it. But
But she was also just a very empathetic, and so incredible, would enter into people's situations and just love them tremendously.
Such a beautiful story. And you've shared so much wisdom, hope, and encouragement with us today. Before we wrap up, because we're almost out of time, if someone would like to learn more about Mara Labs, your research, your products, or connect with your team, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say just go to mara-labs.com, and then your listeners, we can give them a 25% off discount for the first week of the podcast being released at mara-labs.com/growth mode. And then after that, it will be a 15% off discount ongoing. But yeah, we offer a 100-day, 100% money back guarantee, because we know our products work. And so people, who are on the fence, I don't know if I want to try it or not, just try it. Because there's no risk to you. We do honor that return policy, but very few people take us up on it because they love our products.
What a great conversation. David, thank you so much for joining me today on Growth Mode. Your story is a powerful reminder that even in life's most difficult moments, purpose can emerge in extraordinary ways. And one thing that really, resonated with me throughout this conversation is that investing in your health isn't just about adding years to your life. It's about improving the quality of the years we have.
Yeah, it's called health span. So you want to basically live that same standard of life and then
That's right.
die.
That's right. And your story reminds us that, even in life's most difficult moments, purpose, hope, perseverance, can inspire something that truly changes lives. We also learned that investing in our health isn't just about treating illness when it appears. It's about making intentional choices every day that support our long-term well-being. And of course, if you'd like to learn more about Mara Labs or the products and resources we discussed today, be sure to visit mara-labs.com. And then, of course, David has graciously extended a very special offer exclusively to our Growth Mode listeners. Simply visit mara-labs.com/growth mode and use that promo code growth mode. That way you can receive 25% off that first week and then 15% off after that for your order. And you'll also find all those details in the episode description. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please give it a like, a comment, and subscribe so you never miss another conversation designed to help you grow personally, professionally, and purposefully. And if you're a business owner or a marketing leader looking to get found and get heard, I'd love to help. Our Get Found, Get Heard package combines organic SEO with targeted radio to help businesses increase visibility, build trust, and generate meaningful results. You can reach me at growthmode@salemsurround.com, or you can call me at 210-526-3626. Until next time, keep growing and stay in growth mode.
Thanks for listening to the Growth Mode podcast with Nina Labbe. Stay connected, keep learning, and keep growing. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And we'll see you next time on Growth Mode.
Want to grow your business online and on the air? Right now, when you sign up for a 6-month organic SEO campaign at $3,100 a month, we'll include a free radio schedule, 1 week per month for 6 months to help kickstart your visibility. That's a $5,000 value in radio advertising, designed to drive awareness and leads from day one. Don't miss it. Email Nina Labbe at growthmode@salemsurround.com or call 210-526-3626 to learn more.